Hey guys, welcome back to the Real Freedom Channel. We're going to explore real people, real situations, real challenges, and real solutions, as always. Today, we're going to take you on a walkthrough, and as we do so, keep an eye out for things that if you were going to make a bid on this property, what's maybe a little out of the ordinary that you would need to take into account and probably bid a little bit lower to make sure that that wasn't a detriment to you. And then we'll also talk about strategy. Now, on this particular house, this is pretty typical for what we buy in this area. There are three strategies that most people employ. One would be a wholesale deal where you get this under contract, you get it purchased, and you just sell it to another investor. You've done absolutely nothing. You're just marking it up, a couple $1,000 to give somebody else a project that maybe you can't get to. Second layer of that might be a wholesale. Now, that would be where we go in, we clean it up, clean it out, cut down the landscaping that's maybe overgrown, and deal with any really hairy issues. If it needs a roof, HVAC, plumbing, foundation, electrical, the stuff that a lot of people are afraid to tackle, maybe you deal with that. So what you're selling and what you're handing off to the end buyer, the investor, is something that really just needs cosmetics. Obviously, the third option that you'd have is to do a full-on renovation and take it to full ARV and sell the thing as a retail, completely renovated sale on the MLS. So as we walk through this property, try to be mindful of, which strategy would you do if this was your house, and what are the couple things that you'd want to take into account as you're putting together your bid to buy the property. So enjoy joining us on this walkthrough, and we'll talk to you on the other side and tell you what we did. Well, we're about to do a walkthrough on a house that we just picked up, and this was done in the early 60s. I don't know the exact year right now. The roof seems to be in pretty good shape. It really needs quite a bit of cosmetics. These crepe myrtle trees are a lot bigger than they need to be. That all needs to be trimmed down. And one of the things that is kind of interesting is this AC unit. This thing is probably about the biggest one I've ever seen on a residential house. So should do a pretty good job of keeping things cool. And then we'll take a glance through to the yard. So a pretty decent sized yard. It's a rear entry garage with an alley. So there's a lot people will like about this. Now you notice the brick. There's a couple things here. If you're going to do any modifications, the brick is kind of an odd shape. Notice they're a little smaller and they're not very uniform in shape. It'd be really difficult to match that if you did any kind of a structural change to where you needed to have some more of it. So one of the things that we do when we're doing a house that has brick that is kind of unsightly, this isn't too bad, but we can certainly clean it up. But what we do when the brick is a little bit unsightly like that is we'll just paint it, and we use a high quality exterior paint, and it really then becomes a design element as opposed to a negative. This house still has furniture and Christmas decorations and things of that nature in it. It's got this was a living room. It has these arches. And this was a formal dining room, and all of the windows across the front are arched windows. So we want to get those cleaned up nice, but that's kind of a nice element. A lot of these fixtures All of these fixtures are going to have to go. There's carpeting throughout that looks like it was a really good quality carpet at one point. There are some things that we like to leave, and this is original Terrazzo tile, which is pretty rare. You don't see much anymore. Had to be laid a certain way, so we'll find a way to keep the terrazzo, but the wallpaper probably is going to have to go. And then when you look at the main living area, this is something that might have been opened up at some point. There's a pretty good sized beam across the top, but it's really a very nice large open area that kind of wraps around the patio and the backyard. But it also has this fireplace that's a wood burning fireplace with a nice wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling hearth, and this is some pretty decent quality stonework. So be ashamed to paint that. Probably won't. These built-ins almost always need to go. As utilitarian as they are, they're just not very sightly, and they scream dated. So here's the laundry area that passes through to the garage. We're not going to go in the garage because there's even more stuff in that. But this is kind of a galley kitchen that, with just painting the cabinets and new hardware, could make it look pretty nice. It does have gas, which is great because then we can do a new gas cooktop. Has some really old school appliances in here. That's the Vent-A-Hood, and that is the double oven, which pretty cool stuff. Looks like they did a chandelier here that's not that old, but it's old enough it needs to be redone, and we'll do something different on the walls as well. But the ceiling, you can see the detail there. They did some pretty intricate scroll work, which looks pretty nice. So we're excited to get this one started. Now I'm going to walk you through the bedrooms. The bedrooms from this era kind of have, they all did a similar thing in houses of this size, and that is that this is the half bath. And I realize the lighting's poor, and I apologize for that, but there's no power on here at the moment. This is the half bath with a little vanity, and then there's a small toilet and shower here. Then as you keep going through here, there's a separate vanity, a little closet, and what this is the bathroom for the master bedroom. Now, master's got some elements that are nice. It's got arched windows on one side. It has windows on two different walls, which we really like for bedrooms, particularly masters. Has the same, scroll work, etc. on the ceiling. After the popcorn, but leaving the trim there, it's going to look very nice. Then here is one of the other bedrooms. Not much of note here, other than the intercom, which is pretty old and kind of a fun little thing to look at. This bathroom is a traditional Jack and Jill, where this one and the third bedroom kind of connect. They share a vanity, they share a toilet, and they share a shower. This is kind of common even in higher end, newer homes, but what's a challenge here, and you have to take this into account on acquisition, is you either have to find a way to add a half bath somewhere for guests, or the buyer of this house, if you're flipping it, is going to have to be okay with kind of sharing a bathroom with guests as the half bath. So that's something to think about. A lot of the higher end touches here, like these doors that close off the main living area, kind of need to go. They were pretty high end at the time, but not so much any longer. And this house doesn't seem to have much in the way of foundation. AC is okay, but I did want to show you this. This is a piece of art here. This is AM/FM intercom. This house was wired to where you could put music wherever you wanted it. You could, instead of yelling across the house to tell people it's dinner time, you could just do it right on the intercom. Kind of a high-end touch in the 60s and 70s. Exposed beamwork across the ceiling. There are a lot of elements here that we really like, and this house is going to look amazing. This is a neighborhood where most of the homes probably haven't been flipped to take them to full ARV and maximize their market value, but they've been well cared for. It's a neighborhood that just seems to be a nice, quiet neighborhood where people tend to take care of their things. There was I think an elderly person here that just wasn't able to keep up any longer, but as you can see, the yard needs complete maintenance, and there's a lot that has to be done here. However, if you're starting with a really good layout like we are here, this house is going to be just amazing. So stay tuned to future episodes as we'll show you this after we get some work done and when we get it completed. But this is what an investor house really looks like. Thanks for watching. Okay, so did you pick up on things during the walkthrough? All right, I admit it, I gave it away, at least on one of the things. I kind of talked about it as I was walking through. And that, of course, is that bathroom issue. That's a real issue, though. The Jack and Jill bath between the second and third bedrooms, not such a big deal because a lot of people, their second, third bedrooms are offices, guest rooms. They're not used every day, and so they don't mind that as much. Or it's, younger children, up to teenagers, and they can, kind of work that out. However, that Jack and Jill setup for the master bath, a little bit more of a problem. The way that's set up, that becomes the half bath. And so the person that lives in the master, they kind of live with the knowledge that, hey, when we have guests over, they're going to kind of see like the same bathroom that I use. A little too intimate for a lot of people, myself included. The other thing to think about is that when you're buying a house, and more importantly, when you're selling a house, the person paying for that house, almost without exception, they're going to live in that master bedroom. They're going to use that master bathroom. So anything that impacts that, something you need to take into account. They're also going to use kitchens and main living area, but that master bedroom, master bathroom, and kitchen, those are going to be of paramount importance. So the other thing that maybe wasn't quite so apparent is right at the end is you saw that blue wall heading back to the entryway. That really needs to come down. By bringing that wall down and beaming that, you're going to create a really large space, and as people walk in that entry door, they're going to say, wow, this place is huge. It's already a pretty good sized house. That's going to make it feel even bigger. You're still going to have the kitchen separated with a wall, a semi-private dining area. Laundry area is not going to be impacted, so it's really a good investment. It's going to be costly, but the ARV in this neighborhood makes it such that that probably would be worth doing. The final point is, if you're doing a 1,200 square foot home renovation, and you know that it's $25 a square foot, and then you go to a 2,000 square foot home, well, it's not still $25 a square foot. It gets a little bit more expensive, not just because you have more area to cover, but you've got to put in nicer furnishings, better quality of flooring, and just make it a slightly nicer house. Not in every case, but rule of thumb, as the house goes up in size, you have to go up in terms of fit and finish. So those are the things to think about. Now, what we're going to probably do with this house, we've already initiated the cleanup, the clean out, getting everything trimmed down around it. And it doesn't really need foundation, roof, HVAC, doesn't need any of the majors. So this will make a great wholesale. We'll probably end up going that route, even though I'd prefer to do the renovation. And here's why. When you buy a property, you need to have multiple exit strategies. So we always have at least 3, sometimes more. With this particular house, another investor is going to want that enough that they'll probably pay us such that we're going to make the same amount as if we did the renovation with a whole lot less risk, a whole lot less time. The way that can work is we spend a great deal of time and money to generate leads to buy a lot of houses. There are some investors out there that don't do any kind of marketing, and they can actually pay more for that house than you could because they don't have a marketing budget to overcome. So it can create a win-win situation where they're getting a property that they really want to do. you're making the same profit or close than you would have made had you done the whole renovation. Much less risk, much less time. So without getting hung up and ego driven and wanting to put your signature on everything, if you get an opportunity to do that, check your ego, take your profit and go out and buy 2 deals with that, because then you can continue to grow and expand your business. I hope that this has been helpful, and we've talked a little bit about strategy. We've talked a little bit about a property specific thing and what to watch for. Make sure and add any comments or questions you have below. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and get notifications so that as we post new content, you'll be the first to learn about real people, real situations, real challenges, and real solutions. Thanks. Until next time, appreciate you watching.